man is back.
Oh, okay, Jay, boys, oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard.
This is your boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, Dash the Inferno. Back at it with another Pokemon Unite commentary video gameplay for you guys. And we got to talk about the NBA champions, Boston Celtics. They won the championship about a week ago. And I got to share some thoughts about it. Why? Because this was, without question, one of the worst championship ones ever. It was. It really, really was. Now, am I saying this is like the worst championship team? No, that honor would go to the Washington Bullets, the 1978 Washington Bullets, because they won the championship with a 44-38 regular season record. They finished second in their own division, so they didn't even win their division, and they finished third in the Eastern Conference. And then, if you want to, behind them was the 76-77 Portland Trail Blazers squad that won 49 games and lost 33 games. And they had the fourth best record in the entire league. They finished second in their own division, and they had the third place spot in the Western Conference. So, yeah, some of the teams that won the championship in the 70s weren't that good by the looks of it. Because look who you could say is next. The Seattle Supersonics, the 1979 squad. They got 52 wins, which is better than the other two. Second in the entire NBA, which is better than the other two. They won their own division, and they had the #1 seed. So why would Bleacher Report call them third? That is interesting. But nevertheless, yeah, that's actually happened. But let's get back to the Boston Celtics. Let's review their playoff run real quick. So first of all, they had a good regular season. Let's not front. They had a good regular season. If memory serves it correctly, I believe they had the overall #1 record in the entire NBA. So there's that. But who they faced in the first round? The Miami Heat in the first round. And in the past, we've seen Miami give this squad problems. And because it's Miami and they added, Miami added somebody. I forgot who they added, but they added somebody via trade in the middle of the regular season that was going to improve their offense. I don't remember who they added. They added somebody. Not Patty Mills, but they added somebody else. I forgot who they added. It wasn't, no, not Duncan Robinson. Off the top of my head, I don't remember who they added, but they added somebody that was good. Not necessarily superstar or they're borderline all-star. We can say that. I don't remember who they added, but they added somebody that was going to, maybe it was Orlando Robinson. No, not Orlando Robinson. I don't remember who they added, but they added somebody that's supposed to boost their scoring. And with that going up, maybe it's Caleb Martin. That's probably who I'm thinking of, Caleb Martin. I don't remember who it was they added, but whoever they added, they're supposed to boost their scoring. And then you pair them up with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, and they're supposed to do some things. Well, Jimmy Butler got injured. He got injured, I think, before the series even started, and this series ended 4-1 in Boston's favor. Now, they did win game 2 in Boston, but Boston basically just took over after that. They won the next 2 in Miami, brought it back to Boston, obviously, and they won there. And it was a blowout in game 5. It was a blowout, really, yeah, a blowout in game 1 as well. And game 3 was a blowout because they won by 20. And you could even say game 4 was a blowout as well. So that's not saying much. That first round against this Miami Heat squad that, again, normally gave them problems in the past where Miami actually beat them, eliminate them from the playoffs in the past. But without Jimmy Butler, nah, that was not going to be competitive. Okay, so there's that. Let's move on to the semifinals, the conference semifinals, that is. Who did they play? The Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, so Cleveland was in a battle with Orlando, and they won that one 4-3. Okay, so they had Donovan Mitchell. So this one might be a little bit more competitive, right? So here's the problem. Donovan Mitchell got injured. Yeah, That actually happened. But despite that, Cleveland won game 2 on the road against Boston, which is shocking. Not only did they win on the road, they blew them out on the road after they got blown out on the road in game 1. So you're probably thinking, okay, this may be serious. And actually, Donovan Mitchell was playing in game 2 by the looks of this. Now, let's get to game 3 real quick, shall we? So game 3 in Cleveland, I believe this was the game where Donovan Mitchell got injured. If memory serves it correctly, I'm looking up the info right here, right now. I'm trying to find anything about Donovan Mitchell. But now, granted, Porzingis, he didn't play. He missed 4 straight games. So there's that. And Porzingis is injury prone. Let's get this out the way. He is injury prone. So let's just add that to the mix. But yeah, I think he got injured. Donovan Mitchell got injured game 3, and he was basically out. Yeah. So here it is. Let me read this quote real quick. Donovan Mitchell, he scored 33 points for Cleveland, but the all-star guard aggravated a left knee injury in the 4th quarter and was labored, meaning he was carried off of the court. And yeah, and that happened with like a minute and 19 seconds left in the game, but Boston was up by 13. But it still could have been competitive because Cleveland could have won game 4. They would have forced a game 6, possibly a game 7. And Donovan Mitchell played. Nope, he didn't play game 4. They lost at home. And he didn't play game 5 where Cleveland got blown out. So yes, another 4-1 victory in favor of the Boston Celtics. Now then, let's move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So let's see, who are they playing against here? So Boston got the Indiana Pacers, and that's oh guys, don't get me started with that series, because to be honest, New York should have beaten Indy, but oh guys, we can even go further back. So let's go further back to the first round. The Indiana Pacers took on the Milwaukee Bucks. What happened here in this series? Giannis got injured. Yeah, the Greek freak himself got injured. Game 1, Giannis watched from the bench. And who won that game? Milwaukee won that game. Okay, that's cool. Game 2, what happened here? Did Giannis play? I'm going to say that's a no. And the Pacers on the road blew out Milwaukee. We've seen a lot of blowouts in this playoffs, by the way. Game 3, it went to overtime. Did Giannis play in that game? And I had to say no. Even though it did went to overtime, but guess who won that game? Indiana. Now then, let's go to game 4, where Indiana won game 4 at home, by the way. And that was borderline a blowout right there. And again, did Giannis play? Actually, did Giannis play? Nope, he didn't play. He's not even listed at all. That means he did not play. He did not play at all in game 4. Let's go to game 5. Milwaukee won game 5 at home, but then let's go to game 6, where they got blown out. And did Giannis play in game 6? And by the judging of the box score, no. So there's that. Indiana lucked out because of injuries, because Giannis didn't play pretty much the entire series. I said pretty much. So there's that. Now, let's get on to the conference semis. Who did they get? The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks came in already plagued with injuries because Julius Randle wasn't even in the playoffs at all. And then they kept getting more and more injuries as this series went along. New York won the first 2 games, and he won the next 2 games. So basically, the home teams kept winning. But let's go to that fateful game 7, where it was, guess what? Another blowout. So let's see. Looking at the New York Knicks, who played in that game? Let's see. I don't see Julius Randle, obviously. I don't see Mitchell Robinson. I don't see Bojan Bogdanovic. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about? Injuries. That got Indy to the conference semis. And that was the only reason why they got to the conference semis. Because if everybody was healthy, Indy would have been knocked out in the first round. Believe that. Indy would have been knocked out in the first round. But nevertheless, Indy took advantage of the injuries, as did Boston, and now they're meeting each other in the conference finals. And what happened here? Game 1, Indy showed their immaturity, showed that they don't belong, and showed their rookiness when it comes to this level of a stage, and blew a lead that they had within the last minute of regulation, letting Boston force overtime and letting Boston win overtime. Game 2, what happened? They lost by 16. But let's talk about game 2, by the way, because I believe there was an injury that happened in game 2 as well. So what happened? Indy, I believe it was their star player that got injured in this game. We referring to Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, he got injured in game 2, and he didn't play again. And at that point, I knew it was over. But here's the thing, though. If memory serves correctly, Indy had the lead in game 3, and they lost it. And then in game 4, Indy tried to make a comeback, but they couldn't do it. And we saw one of the most competitive sweeps in conference finals history. But the fact of the matter is, Boston, yet again, despite the fact they was competitive, Boston still took advantage of a team that had a star player injured. See? And now we get on to the NBA Finals, where they took on a 5th seed Dallas Mavericks squad, who surprisingly got one game. They got a victory in there, but Boston ended up winning in 4-1 in what was, I'm going to be honest, the most terrible finals possibly in NBA history. More than likely NBA history. Let's look at this real quick. Game 1 was a blowout, 107-89. Game 2, okay, it was a little bit closer, but 105-98. Game 3, a little bit closer, 106-99. Game 4, Dallas won in a blowout. Game 5, Boston won in a blowout. So, yeah, like, this was a scenario where, I'm going to be honest with you, Dallas got lucky, or lucked themselves to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to go as far as say they don't belong, because my motto is this. If you're going to lose in a dominant fashion in the NBA Finals, at least get one game. You know, when 6 foot, what, like 0-1, Allen Iverson went up against Shaq and Kobe. He went on the road and got them one before ultimately losing 4-2. I mean, 4-1, losing the series 4-1. So it's like if he could do it, I need you to do it so you can at least say you belong in the NBA Finals. And the Dallas Mavericks did that. They did get one, so kudos to them. But I felt like if Boston would have took on Denver, if they would have took on Minnesota, heck, if they would have took on OKC, it would have been a way more competitive series than Dallas. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. In fact, if Boston would have took on Denver, I think Denver would have won it. If Boston would have took on Minnesota, I believe Minnesota would have won it. If they would have took on the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder, I can see Boston still winning that, but it would be a competitive series. It would have been a good series. And I would have been like, yo, they had a fight to win this one. I can't hate on them for that. But when it came down to this one, nah, this was one of this ain't the worst NBA final ever. That honor would go to San Antonio sweeping Cleveland. And I would say Cleveland did not deserve to be there. The Pistons should have been there, but that's another story for another day. Now, again, I'm not going to go as far to say this Boston Celtics squad was the worst NBA championship team in history. No, I already gave you 3 teams that fit that bill. And there's even more teams that you could say that fit that bill as well. But in terms of a championship run, like from the first round all the way up to the championship, this was one of the most easiest runs Boston had. Now, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute. This is the number 1 seed throughout the entire NBA for the regular season. Shouldn't this happen? Well, if all the star players that they face remain healthy and this happened, this probably wouldn't even be a video. More than likely, this would not be a video. I would say, yo, Boston was that superior this year. But the problem is they took on a team in Miami who gave them fits in the past and is basically known for being a playoff team. Like regular season, nah. Playoffs, yeah, that's that squad. But they was missing their star player, their biggest star player in the form of Jimmy Butler. So, yeah, Boston took advantage of that. Then they took on a Cleveland Cavaliers squad who in the middle of that series, they lost Donovan Mitchell. And my belief is that Donovan was healthy, and even though I do not like anything Ohio related, if Donovan Mitchell was healthy, this would have gone 6 to 7 games. And I can still say Boston would win that series because they have home field and they have a little bit more firepower. But I would have easily said this would have gone 6 to 7 games. But instead, Donovan Mitchell got injured. And what happened? Boston wins 4-1 yet again. Then we got the conference finals where they took on a team who shouldn't have even been there to begin with because Indy also lucked out in the first round where they took on a Milwaukee Bucks squad that didn't have Giannis, where they took on a New York Knicks squad that was constantly plagued with injuries to their top 3 stars throughout this entire series. And now, look what happened here. Celtics took on a squad who lost their star player, and Tyrese. He's not a superstar because of how he played in that game 1. I refuse to call this guy a superstar. He is just an all-star. That's it. He barely an all-star in my opinion. That's it. But yeah, he got injured in game 2, and what happened? We got a sweep. So it's like this Eastern Conference one messed up Boston in terms of, how great of a championship run this was. And you got dudes like Kendrick Perkins. Obviously, he's a homer. He go to say, this was the greatest championship run in history. I'm like, no, the hell was not. Like, they took on teams that had superstars that was injured. Whether the injuries happened before the series started or it happened in the middle of it. Like, it happened 3 straight times. You can't make this up. Like, no, this was, I would go as far as say this was the worst championship run in NBA history. But I would not say this was the worst championship team in NBA history. I'm not saying they like near the top. Heck no, not even close. But I'm not going to go as far as say they are at the bottom. I'm not going to go as far as say they're going to be near the bottom. They are in the middle of the pack, but I would say I would put them under that 50% plateau. Like maybe between that 50 and 30% plateau of NBA champions that are ranked from good or phenomenal, which is 100%, to terrible, which is 0%, excuse me. So that's why I see this Boston Celtics squad, just a team that took advantage of injuries. But if all those teams were healthy, first of all, in the conference finals, they would have played against New York, and I don't see Boston beating New York. That's the only team in the Eastern Conference that made the playoffs this year that I did not see Boston beating. Everybody else, yeah. But New York, no. So there you go with that. I'm going to call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know what this is. This is boy New J Gatsby, a.k.a. New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.